Hi everybody, how you doing today? I'm trying an experiment. Excuse me. Well, the other day I tried to set my camera up to do this, and I have this on a tripod, but it's kind of coming over my lap. So we're going to try this. This is going to be very, very short. I'm not going to do this whole drawing right now. So if you're new here, my name is Sheri, and I'm sorry you can't see my face because it took me a minute to set this all up. But yeah, I had asked, let me turn this light on. Oh, I have another one. Hello. That would be good. Excuse the shaking. Like I said, this is an experiment. Wow, that's fucking awesome. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Actually, this is really, really good. So yeah, the only way I can fit this here, this stand, is it's kind of like, it's like over my lap, but so I'm going to be, hey, I wonder if I could do this while looking through the camera. So I was going to tell you, would you guys like to know how to shade in hair? So one of the things I started to do with this, and I don't know if I can have this shrink down. I'm wondering why. Like I said, this is an experiment. I don't think it's going to let me do it. Weird. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to have to fuss with the stand and figure out how to do it so that the light part isn't right under my chin. But anyway, so this is a coloring book page, and I recently got it at Five Below. And so if you're looking for it, I'm going to actually do a much better video soon, and I'm going to show you the book and everything. But this drawing of this girl looks really similar to drawings that I've used to do. So I think that's why I was drawn to it. And I'm kind of just fussing with it a little bit to try to see, you know, I'm a little rusty, try to get back into drawing and see if I can get the hair to look a little bit more real. Now, granted, this is a coloring book page, so there's going to be dark lines here no matter what. But you can tell I've started to shade some over here. And the reason why I did her hair this bright, almost henna orange, sun-kissed orange, is because I knew I was going to cover it up with brown. Now these here, this one was given to me by my friend. This brand I'm not familiar with, but this is the color I need, this dark brown. I really like working with watercolor pencils because I do love working with colored pencils for smaller projects. I always have. I do really like the Prismacolor pencils. I want to get myself some new ones. I used to have some years ago. They're very creamy. They work really well. You don't have to push as hard on the pencil to get good payoff for color. So what I like to do, now this is like a fantasy drawing. This is not really meant to look incredibly real. And she's just like looking deadpan, like straight at you. So I was trying to figure out with this drawing here, it's a coloring book drawing, but still part of me was like getting all curious. I was looking up fantasy art pictures on Pinterest, and I'm like visualizing putting like a shadow of a tree here and color around the sky and actually maybe putting a moon here. And so these colors that I put underneath this purple, which I'm really not happy with how this is coming out, but it's in the beginning. That's just something I thought would be cool to shine out. So if I cover this whole thing with the very dark brown or black, wherever the highlights are, like where the light is hitting it, like say I put a moon here. So then you're going to have one light source coming from here. Yesterday I was staring at this and I was trying to figure out, where do I want the light source to be? And that might sound silly to somebody who's never drawn before, but that's basically will determine the colors that I use on her hair and where to put the shadows and all of that. And it's good practice. So, but for now, what I'm doing is I'm doing it in layers. So I put the undertone on first for now, just because it's watercolor and I can always layer darker on top of it as I go. Ultimately, I would like her to have either a very dark auburn or maybe brunette with some warm highlight showing through. And so, yeah, that's why I did that. It's an experiment. I actually haven't taken art classes in, I don't know, a couple of decades. This is weird. I'm like watching myself color through the camera. And while I do this instead, okay, that's not going to work. So what I'm doing here is I am looking at where is there going to be shadow. Now, I spent like the last day or so since I was kind of stuck in bed. I will do an update. As boring as it is, I really wanted to do this. I wanted to do an art video. And they're going to get much better than this. These are probably boring. I'm sorry about that. But what ended up happening when I set up my tripod here, I bent over the wrong way. And I bent my back exactly where I injured it years ago. And boom, I was down. So I'm okay. And I can actually get up on my own now. So I'm happy. I don't have to call my Levy Love to come help me stand up. The last couple of days I had to have him get stuff for me. And that's not fun. So when you're doing hair, and this is just kind of more almost comic book hair, you want to think about where the light's coming from. Now, I'm going to put like a full moon here. So we'll imagine it's a full moon. And even though it's a cartoon kind of a drawing, it still will give it a sense of 3 dimensions. So I'm probably going to put a lot more shadow in here. But I'm going to try something for the first time I've never done. I'm going to have 2 light sources. I'm going to have up here the blue-white light from the moon coming this way. And on the edges, I'll put like some kind of blue cast light or white silvery light on the edges so that you can tell there's a light. And the blue light is going to come and illuminate part of the hat as well. And this is all going to be shaded because the light source is coming from behind you. But if it's a full moon, I feel like I could actually not have to make everything super dark because when it's a full moon, it's pretty bright out. So if the moon's coming from here and it's coming from behind this way, this part is not going to have as much light. So there's going to be a little bit of white blue here. I might actually add some acrylics when I'm all done if I make this too dark and go over it. I don't know if I can do multimedia on top of all these layers of pencil, but they are watercolor pencil. So I'm hoping that I can. So yeah, there's going to be some shading, but also there's going to be that light at the end. I think that I'm going to have to do that with acrylics. And then these guys here, they're cartoon stars. They're really cute. And I actually have been toying with the idea of painting over them and creating a different scenery. But I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. And I actually started doing black down here, excuse me, because I figured it's nighttime, it's going to be dark. But I don't really know yet what I'm doing. So yeah, it's funny because you might think art is how well you paint or how well you draw, but it's really not. It's how well you see. So I'm going to tell you guys a story if you're interested while I color. Incidentally, if you want to learn how to shade hair, I did some here, but do you see how, let's see, do you see how that looks very, very flat? I actually forgot to bring that red down, but that's okay. Maybe I can, no, I do want to do that. Here, hold on. I don't even know which color I use for that. I don't know, but I'm going to try this. Okay, so we're thinking light's coming from here. So this part here, oh, this is more red. See, that's why I try to do everything all at once because, let's see if I can fit this under the camera. The camera's like literally right over my artwork. So I have a lot of shades. There's a couple of brands of pencils in here. There's Crayola. There's that box of Kimberly that my friend gave me. So there's some inexpensive ones, but there are ones that, let's see, is this one? No, let me find one. There are some really, really nice ones that I got at an art shop. And you might be thinking, what is the difference? Here you go. I don't know how to pronounce that. Is that Caran D'Ache? I'm not sure. It's Swiss. So yeah, if you can order some, if you like to do art and you like to work with pencil, I do recommend trying some of these out because they're just fun. They're fun. I'm going to pull out a couple of these orangey red colors because I should have thought of this ahead of time. Wait, which one did I use? I don't even know. Whatevs. Whatever. I didn't even know. Okay, so that's gonna be interesting. So do you see how this is very flat looking here? It really doesn't matter because this is the stuff that's gonna show. Maybe I should have made it all the same orange because I'm actually covering up the darker here. I've never tried this before. I just had this idea that this might be cool. So, So basically, think of the light coming here. If the light source is coming this way, this part of the curl would be sticking out. And this part is kind of, the light won't show on this as much, or even just this way. So these areas that, if you look at the swirl like a long S, so all of the areas that are kind of coming down and around, this is the darker part. And because I'm trying to give her like kind of a red undertone, yeah, I don't even know if this is the same one. So on the underneath part, let's see if I can do this. This is such a strange setup. Now this, well, I guess that's going to be too. Am I going to make that different color? I don't know. Well, what I'm doing here is I'm going to go, I'm like, do I look at my work through the camera since it's like right over my lap? Or do I turn my head to the side? All of these questions. Wait, they didn't do this well. What happened to this here? So this must be part of this guy, but this is just one hair. All right, well, I'm going to make this dark because it doesn't make sense to me. Oh, so I'm going to make this dark because it's going in this direction. Anything that's, wow, that's kind of fluorescent. I wonder how this is going to look. And the cool thing with the coloring, the watercolor pencils, is you actually have no idea how it's going to come out until you add a watercolor brush with some water on it. And sometimes the pigments, like this purple here, I just put it on so lightly. And then when I added water, it made it quite a bit darker. This was another thing that bothered me here. I'm trying to figure out, like, I want to add some kind of top to this. This is like a cami or some kind of corset. And whoever designed this, I don't know if they were messing with us, but they had, this is part of this shirt, right? You can tell it's part of this shirt. And then she's wearing another shirt. It's not sewn into it. It's a separate shirt because she's got these straps. Okay. So I kind of just like put that there for now until I figure out how I'm going to address this issue. I was thinking what I could do. I want to make this like some kind of golden gilded look, like a little bit of shimmery gold with an olive tone to it. So this is much darker green than it's going to be. And I haven't decided what kind of color this is going to be, but I'm going to put some hooks in here or some kind of tie to make it look like it's part of the corset. Now, I actually do like this as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I wish I could have shown you this picture before I colored it in or drew this. Actually, I think I do have it in my community posts. It's weird because I didn't know how to do this. Otherwise, if this wasn't here, the line just kind of came up to here. And this line came up to here. So this is what it looked like. Imagine this wasn't even here. That doesn't make sense, right? So how would this part of the shirt come over another shirt? Maybe there was some kind of method to that. Maybe this is similar to some of those. I know in the 90s, I don't know if they're coming back or not. In the 90s, when I was in high school in the 2000s, they had these shirts that had like, I recently saw some on Amazon. They had like a sweater attached to it. It looks like 2 layers, but it's actually stitched in. So that's the only thing I could think of. But I didn't want it to look that way. I wanted this to be an actual corset, like as if she was doing some kind of steampunk thing, right? I also was thinking it's kind of Wiccan looking, and I've had Wiccan friends, and I love that. I come from Massachusetts. I won't get into too much, but most of my friends throughout my life have been spiritual in one way or another, and I've had friends from all different kinds of backgrounds. I was raised Christian. I have some other beliefs. I don't know how much I want to get into it now, but yeah, I like this. So I was looking at pictures of fedora hats to see how the light shines on them in different lighting. It was really hard for me to find one where they were modeling it at night outside. I couldn't believe all the fantasy artwork that I looked up didn't have, like most fantasy artwork, isn't it at night? It'll show galaxies. This feels so strange drawing while I'm looking through a camera because I'm not actually looking directly onto this to see where to place this. Whoa! I had the TV on pause. I think I'm just going to go ahead and... I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll make it up as I go. Well, seeing that her underlying color is this like henna auburn. Oh my god, guys. I was looking at Pinterest and I have been saving hundreds and hundreds of pictures to my phone. Some of them with, you know, that space kind of background. Okay, so this won't really show very much. I'm just going to go ahead and make it this color because it's coming forward. Okay, that looks a little better. At least it's more consistent. Okay. What was I saying? What was I saying? I don't even know. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, this is kind of, that's interesting. Oh, so there's a piece of hair that's coming from behind. Okay. Okay, okay. All right. So I'm going to keep doing this the same way I did. Okay. So if the light source is coming from here, this will be dark for sure. And the same thing here. This will, that'll be dark. It doesn't have to be perfect, by the way. So this, well, would that be underneath the hair? I don't know. It's a coloring book drawing, so it really doesn't matter. It's interesting looking through this camera as seeing how the colors are changed a little bit. They kind of show up less red. But anyway, so this will be a little, I'm not being perfect because this is going to get a wash of color. And I'm going to make this here a little bit darker. And if I lose it, there's nothing I can do. So this part would be dark. I'm not sure what's going on with this hair here, but I'll figure it out in a minute. What are we doing? We're going to make this a shadow. Now, if this was the summertime and it was really bright out, I could illuminate parts of the hair and keep them bright where the sun would kind of come through it, where the hair was thinner. Not so much when it's thick. So if you ever look at pictures, if you go online and look at pictures modeling and they're standing in the sun, you'll see that where their hair is thinner, the sun will shine through and illuminate it and light it up. But if this hair is too thick, it won't happen. So you'll have parts of the hair will be lit up. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this. And let's see, where are we at? 20 minutes. Well, I don't know how I filled my phone, but it's back to how it was a few months ago, last year, where I had to clean out my phone because I had so much stuff. I couldn't record videos. I think this is going to be that way too, but I'm going to make this darker. Do you see how it almost looks like you can kind of see it's starting to be a little bit more three-dimensional than this? This just looks like noodles. It looks like spaghetti. Now, granted, it's a cartoon, right? So this is not going to look real. I'm not going to attempt to make it look real, but I'm just trying to make it look more interesting. So now that it's down here, the light is probably going to come here more. Okay. All right, so we're going to actually change this up a little bit. We're going to make it, this part's going to be very dark. I went and I was looking at how to draw fabric. So anybody who has an art background knows what I'm talking about. So if you take art classes, there's a formula for everything. When you draw a face, you have a basic shape, and then you draw across, and you have a certain formula for where everything goes. And that way, all your pictures have the proper proportions. That's why you'll have like a mini mannequin for the human form, made out of wood that you can bend. And that kind of, as you're learning how to draw. But in all of my classes, I never did the human form. And I never did fabric. I did classes where we did landscape and still life. And the portrait one was like a surreal self-portrait. I'll actually dig out my paintings and show them to you guys. That one was actually scary. I don't know what I was thinking. I think it's because I grew up a neurodivergent person and I didn't know. So it was kind of scary. It looked like some really horrible, like hell dreamscape. Oh God, it was terrible. And then the actual me is like a robot. Like I'm encased in this metal with all these rivets and bolts, like I'm frozen. And right where the heart is like a square, and then opened it up, there's like a white dove in there. So the real me is a softie, but I'm kind of trapped, which I think is probably a really good analogy. So you have been on here for 20 minutes with me. If I post this as it is, which for this, because it's an experiment, this is just for fun. I'm just going to post it as it is until I know what I'm doing. And some of you who come from an art background might appreciate this. So, is this one mine? Some of these might be mine. Now, my grandmother was an oil painter. And Grumbacher. She loved to get these brushes. And so this, as old as it is, and the pieces of like paint that have been coming off, she always about keeping your brushes clean. But this one kind of broke. I'm going to glue it back in because these were my grandmother's. I don't care how dirty this part gets. And I'm going to glue that. This is a natural hairbrush. I don't know if she cut this. She might have cut this. She did watercolors as well, but mostly she did oil paints. And I did one oil painting with her, but I was too young. This one too, I think, is probably going to be similar. Grumbacher, yeah. So all of these that say Grumbacher were my grandmother's. So yeah, it's almost like she's painting with me. And if you would like to see, because I'm going to run out of space in 3 minutes. Gosh, I'm going to have to delete all those photos. Oh, Alan. So I was wondering, you had mentioned to me, too much water. I need to grab everything that I need right now. You had mentioned to me, all right, I'm just going to kind of blend some of the shadow in here. You mentioned to me, let's pull the dark part down here, that I should do Oh, the lighting's on it and it's reflecting so you guys can't see. Here. It'll take a minute for it to adjust, but the light will adjust. That might be better for you guys. The reflection from the water was making it, now I can't see to do the work. You had mentioned that I should draw a portrait of Marilyn. So I'm not too worried about that right now because I know what I'm doing with this. Can I do this while looking in the camera? That will be amazing. I'm figuring that this part here is going to be undershadowed. Maybe it'd be more interesting if I do the night sky and then use the different shades of blue, green, what have you, purple. You can see here. Ready? Watch this. Oh, this one's not going to work. I put too much water on my brush, man. Yeah. This is going to be tricky for me. I don't think I can do art looking through my phone camera, because then I'm going to mess it up. Yeah. Let me put my glasses on. I am going to have to set this camera up differently. So Alan, you had mentioned to me, why don't I draw a picture of Marilyn? Now, in real life, like people who actually exist in real life, I have only done 3 or 4 of actual people. So like the person was in front of me. And that I did not do from a class. So I didn't have a teacher to tell me how to do it. So I kind of was winging it. So, and it did look like them. I was surprised. I did have a class when I must have been in middle school, and I was in New Jersey. So that was before moving back home to Mass. That was before my brother passed. I was a kid. There was a class that this girl did a drawing from a modeling photo in a magazine. And it was the assignment. She must have been from a previous class. Oh yeah, this is a hot mess. I'm going to